right? If we do have concerns, we'll be able to fill people around people that we want to strategically bring into our building in order to make sure we can get people around those guys that can help them whatever they lack when we talk about our ethos and how we go about our plan. But that's number one on the people on how you want to bring them into your building. I am so sorry. You're talking so low right now. What advice would I give to a kid looking to get where I'm today? Just work really extremely hard, right? Learn from your mistakes. Continuously grow throughout the process and whatever you're doing. I think those are some of the major things that allowed me to be back in this position to talk to you guys right now. Yes. I think it's grown just throughout the process, just the different buildings that you go in. When you have the ability to be around different prospects and different situations and different leadership groups, from being with Dan Quinn, from being with Jay Gruden, from being with Mike Shanahan, or even just our last tenure at the Rams. I think that was a major part of how we developed and how we wanted to bring people in. You want to bring the right people in. You want to take the right calculated risk on people. What are you taking those calculated risks for? Are you prepared to handle those things? All of those things come into play, and I think that's been a major part of growth and development for me. And really, along with our whole league, it's just been a major part of it because of how we go about our business and how we structure our daily day and how we move forward. You know, obviously, when you talk about this, I won't bring up names because I'm not going to tell Rick anything that I want to give him because he'll let all you guys know. But when you're going through the process, you have everything open, right? We got so many avenues right now because we have free agency money. We have the ability to trade, whether it be trading for a player or another team, or whether it be trading up or back in the draft. It's just really about having the different scenarios that you want to have when you're talking about the quarterback position. You got option A, you got option B, you got option C, you got option D. And this year, there are a bunch of different options out there that you got to put through. And it's why I've surrounded myself with 19 quarterback coaches on my staff, right? When you're talking about Zach Robinson, you're talking about TJ Yates, you're talking about getting a veteran presence of Ken Zampese, you're talking about being around a young presence of DJ Williams, you're talking about being around KJ Black, Chandler Whitmire, and different guys in our position, right? Whether you're talking about Jimmy Lake from working with offense last year with Matthew Stafford and being around those type of people, right? You want to have different opinions to allow the decision makers to make the proper decisions at the time when that comes up. And that's been a doozy for us, and it's been fun for us to go through. I mean, it's been difficult throughout the years, right? You know, we all evaluated Tom Brady wrong when we drafted him in the 6th round. And he's turned out to be one of the best players, if not the best quarterback in the National Football League has ever seen. So it has continuously been an issue for everybody, right? But you got to have your profile set up and what you look for. You got to have your processor ready to go. You want the guy to have the intangibles, the smart and the gamer and be a player. We know those things, and then you go out and you try to find those guys and who's displayed it at the best level and try to make those picks. And it's just hard. It's a hard position to evaluate. That's just what it is, right? It's arguably the hardest position in sports and what we know, and that's just how it's been, Mike. Thank you. You know, Bijan is special, and when you think about that young man, and we talked about ethos earlier, he defines it and who he is and the character of the human and what he's done. And you got to give credit to the people that were here before us and what they've brought into this building that I've been able to acquire right now. And Bijan is one of those special talents who can be a special player for a long time in this league and doing things the right way, going about his teammates, caring about his teammates, being the person that you want to be around. I think those things are very important for all of us. And the sky's the limit for a guy like Bijan. I don't want to set any limitations or set any goals for him. I know he's already come out and set some of his own personal goals, but for us, everybody included, it's going to be about winning. And you got to go out there and win football games, and I think what he can help us do. So many things. You know, Dan Quinn, it was so important into developing people. He was so important in developing his players. He was so important in developing his coaches. And I think all the things that he's given me and talked about with me are just some of the special moments and the special things that's helped me get to this point again. He was instrumental in myself becoming the coordinator at the Rams and being able to have success there. He was instrumental in being able to talk to different people at different walks of life and different walks of life about how prepared and how ready I was. It was great to be able to be a part of it with him, to be able to learn some from the ups, be able to learn some from the downs, and to be able to go through that process with him. I was fortunate enough to take over for him as the interim head coach at one point, and I think that whole process for me was awesome because some of the things were tightly aligned, and to be able to grow moving forward I thought was just awesome. So learned so many lessons from Dan Quinn. I don't know if I can talk about it in this podium stance right now. That is, it's amazing, and it's great to have him get another opportunity as well. It's so crazy, when you think about it, right? I just think about not only Kyle Shanahan, but what he's done as a head coach, and us working together from Tampa days to the Washington days to him trying to continuously for us to work together at some point because of what he's done in this league from an offensive play caller standpoint and how important that is and how well he's done as a head coach getting his team to 2 Super Bowls. And that is so flattering from a guy like that, but it's not just Kyle. It's the Sean McVays of the world, it's the Matt LaFleur's, it's the Mike McDaniels, and ultimately the Mike Tomlins, and all of the people that you work with or been around that can give you those great compliments like that because of the stuff and the development that you've been able to grow and learn from those guys. And it's really something that you just grow from everybody, right? We mentioned Dan Quinn, but all of these guys would be really hard for me to talk about in depth because over the years, them letting me behind the curtain, so to speak, whether it's with another organization or my own organization, I think has been extremely fortunate for myself.
The fans want me to ask you about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson.
Obviously you talk about 2 players on the contract, right? And I got so much respect for our fans that I won't get myself in trouble or us in trouble talking about any in particular person. But, it's really exciting with the quarterback group that we talked about that's out there that we have the ability to acquire. And that makes our fan base, that's what makes our front office, that's what makes our coaches all excited to be able to talk in our rooms about those people. And I can't believe D-Led of all people trying to get me fined on my first day at the podium. The fans.
You're a trailblazer and a role model in this league. What does it mean to you to see Antonio Pierce get a head coaching job?
I talked about this a little bit in my press conference, but I thought the most interesting thing to me throughout this process of people getting head coaching jobs, I think it was 3 black head coaches that became head coaches this cycle, and I don't think it was talked about. I don't think it was a segment on SportsCenter. I don't think it was a segment on anything that we talked about, whether it was black head coaches or was just the best people for that job. And I'm so happy to see Antonio get that job because he was obviously the best person for that job, for that radio organization, and I'm so proud of him. But to call myself a trailblazer and never look at myself that way, because there's so many people in front of me and there's so many people going to come behind me that I'm just a part of it. And I just want to make sure I make everybody else proud around us. And the only way you do that is go out and do your best and everything that you can to win.
You talked about the options that you have, a lot of options that you guys can look at, obviously. What gives you the sense that the Falcons team is maybe closer than getting things turned around, being in the building? What gives you that sense?
I got to start with the people that's been acquiring the talent here, and Terry Fontenot, who just talked to you guys. But he's done a great job of building our O-line. He's done a great job of getting the guys like Bijan Robinson. He's done a great job of acquiring Cal Pitts. Done a great job of acquiring Drake London. He's done a great job of formulating his defense, letting him go out there and play at a high level. He acquired some really great coaches. When you're talking about marquees coaching our special teams and leaders of men and people that you just want to go out there and work with. And now it's time to implement a couple new things, go out there and find out who's going to be the trigger man for us and put ourselves in position to win. And I'm not afraid to say that we have the ability and we're capable to go out there and win next year. If we do some of the right things, some of the right moves, we can do that. And that's not an arrogance, that's not a confidence, that's not a cockiness. That is more of a credit to the people that were in the building with me still, and some of the people that are not there now, and what they've been able to do. If we had better quarterback play last year in Atlanta, I might not be standing here. And they would have the ability to be talking about those things. But right now, if we can focus on some of those things and do some of that, I think that'll give us the best chance to go out there and win football games.
What ways did coaching on the offense side of the ball help you as a coach that maybe you didn't expect and went back to the defensive side?
He's just showing off because he knows me so well that he wants me to talk about my offensive prowess. But it was such a cool thing to go on that side of the ball and work with the people that I was able to work with. Whether you're talking about working with Kyle Shanahan directly, and being a part of being a receiver coach and sitting down in the room and being the only new staff member and absolutely sitting down in the room with Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels, Mike LaFleur, and absolutely watching those guys teach me the offense. Chris Morgan teach me the O-line play and what we did up front and protections and doing all those things in that offseason, which was great. And then they'd be able to go apply it, and then they'd apply it to Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, whether it be Calvin Ridley, whether it was any of these type of guys that you coached at that time, and explain it from a defense perspective and moving forward, and then be able to be with Steve Sarkisian and work with him and really do some really good things on offense and learn some of the college game that he was able to implement to the Kyle Shanahan offense and install that to him because he wanted to keep some rhythm and routine that we already had within the building. And then ultimately going to Dirk Cutter and getting some of the stuff that Matt did, having success as a rookie, implementing that to our program, being able to do those things, getting more assignments for myself in third down, being a pass game coordinator. I can't say enough about that offense experience to be able to go over on that side of the ball, work with those particular men as coordinators, get some really good things, get some really great things from those guys, and be able to apply it once you went back to defense and ultimately becoming a head coach, knowing some different things on how you want to view or talk to your staff members. I couldn't thank a person enough for having an opportunity. And that started with the guy like Dan Quinn allowing me to do that. Jealousy is my relationship with Kirby Smart. Right? Let's go win some championships like that guy. They've done nothing but formulate a great program. And again, it starts with the people. Some good faces back here, Jordan. Sorry, Jordan. But just watching him win championships, it's been fun to see. It's been fun to see the acquisition of great talent coming out of Georgia. I know where I live now is a big Georgia contingency. So like I got to get my Bulldog hats and be ready to support those guys and what they're doing. I'm so sorry. The era of tight ends. That was a random question, but it's like a unique hybrid position right now, and you're seeing greatness across the board. I believe Kelsey and all of those guys have formed this tight end nation, and they've made it a more popular position because of what they do. They're involved in the blocking game, they're involved in the passing game, and they really become big-time playmakers in the National Football League, and they've taken a little bit of that light and it's provided a little onus on those guys, and it's at probably one of the highest level that we've seen it in the National Football League with the playmakers, with the blocking, with the ability to be jokers across the board and do different things and create mismatches across the board on offense. And they're a problem every single week when you talk about how you're going to defend them, with who you're going to defend them with, and it's just keep continuing to grow. So it's been awesome. Yes. You know, Mike, I've known for a very long time. I've known Mike from being whatever. I don't even know if you can call people quality control coaches anymore because nobody wants to take that title. An offensive assistant that had a real big background in the run game is where I really learned, and he had a really big background in the pass game. And sitting down with him, you just recognize the brilliance in the young guy at the time. And then you watched him grow, and he was really weird like he is with you guys, and you knew he was a different dude. And if you sat there long enough and listened to him and get across his point, you were going to learn something from him. And then he was one of those guys that got close to me from a friend standpoint, and I got a chance to meet his family and know all those people and what they do, and him to get a chance to go out there and display his genius over the last couple of years, if you let him tell it, has been fun to watch him and what he's doing in Miami. And even watch him grow as a leader of a football team and to be able to have the presence that he's been able to go with in his style and his version has been fun to watch as well. So I've just enjoyed to watch all the guys that I've worked with, worked for, worked around, to be able to grow in this profession and do some really good things.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm leaving after this, Rick. Go ahead.
You were a young coach, and you didn't get to be a head coach for very long.
You know, I think it's good. I think when you get into the problem of thinking you deserve something before you actually deserve it, that's when problems happen for you. You become bitter. And you guys know me well enough, most of you, that I wouldn't allow anything with the process to make me bitter. I allowed it to make me better, right? Whether it been opportunities to interview for different people or opportunities to grow and learn from different coaches or different walks of life. And I think that's the way you got to do with everything. You don't become the best media member in the world by being a bitter human. You become the best media member in the world by watching great people do great things and learning from what they do well and being able to be the best thief that you can possibly be, Rick. And I watch you become one of the better thieves in this business. Good job.